Today we are back. Today this is episode what?
8.
Episode 69.
No. Is episode 8?
Episode 8.
Episode 8 of the TSL Time podcast. Today's a really special episode. We got Uncle fucking T and the fucking Moose the Shagger in the building.
Yes, sir. We out here. We out here.
The summer crew, the summer debauchery crew.
The summer debauchery crew. So this episode is going to be a very interesting one. We're not only going to cover a lot of the different recaps from the Wild August tour.
Yeah, there's a lot to go over with that.
I guess I think a lot from the outside.
A lot of people want to know what actually happened. I get on the road, people are like, "So what was that like?" And I was like, "Alcoholism."
That's for sure.
Full degeneracy.
That's 100%.
You both almost died. We'll go into that later.
Yeah, and I think also though, aside from all the debauchery and degeneracy, and from like the outside viewer and stuff, like I don't know, I learned a lot from you and just the whole trip.
The same. I mean, I think it was a real, like, great men's bonding experience, as well as like I mean, I think we both gained a lot from each other. You know, I'm fucking a decade older than you. And I mean, I felt young for a long time, but there's so much stuff that you guys' generation like is really turned on about, and health being kind of the main thing, that like so many different pointers that both of you kind of turned me on to that I've taken on, and it's really kind of changed my life, and that's like, it's pretty incredible. Yeah,
that was fucking awesome. And just for a little like background on the tour for those who may be just tuning in here for the first time.
Well, that's like, so basically, before we get on the tour, I was following Richie, and I was like, this guy's fucking funny. I'm a fat piece of shit. Like, I need to figure out a way to get my life together. And I was like, well, he's a degenerate, I'm a degenerate. Maybe there's like a middle ground. Then we met each other at a rave, and I was like, yo, like tripping all over yourself. I was like, yo, you want to have an experiment? He's like, what? And I was like, you want to go on tour with me for a month and help me get in shape? And he was like, yeah, fuck it, like whatever. You were still in college when I asked you. You like finished in university, and we came up with this fucking harebrained idea to go on this fucking month-long tour. That like, it was funny because all our people and managers were like, you guys do this, and we're like, yo, fucking this shit is fucking by the hip. We don't know what the fuck we're doing. We're gonna figure it out on the road. And just like, it was a magic mystery tour, man. It was so much fun. How many countries did we go to? Like 5, 6, 8, 10? I mean, we did 30 shows, right?
I think we did 5 or 6 different countries. I mean, if you include the U.S., it was U.S., Italy, Spain, France.
I think it was 26 shows, 27 shows.
Dude, I know it was 21 flights in 30 days.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Which was insanity. And just for context, I mean, for those of you guys know Moose is the one handling everything podcast, my right-hand man, my boy.
Moose. Moose-arino.
You guys saw Moose on some of those tour moments as well, which was insane. But when I told Moose back in May, I was like,
this guy went to the hospital twice, by the
way. Yeah, that was bad.
Seth, when you hit me up, I was like, dude, this is the craziest thing I've ever thought in my life. Because I used to go to your shows all the time, be dancing to your music, and just going crazy. And then I told Moose one day, I'm like, bro, Seth just told me we're cooking up an idea to hit a fucking world tour. And Moose is like, I'm like, bro, if we go, you got to fucking come. And Moose was in since day one.
And your boy, a big shout out to Alvaro coming in at the end.
Yeah.
The real fucking maniac.
The troopers.
Yeah.
That was insane.
The troops. But yeah, the whole thing was just like a lot of fun, and I mean, we became really good friends out of it, you know. And it's kind of like great to have shared that time, and also, I think there's a lot of people who watch your podcast at different ages and stuff, and you know, male relationships and finding new friends when you're older, it's a bit of a complicated scenario, right? You're like, and then to really kind of get a brother in life, you know, middle-aged man like myself, you know, still fucking running these streets. Run into fucking shit on these streets out here. It was great. We got some technical difficulties, Moose.
Yes, but you know that's what's crazy, because I don't know, in the back of my head, if you think about it, like if you spend 30 days with someone, like 30 days with someone is a lot of fucking time, let alone every moment.
It's a lot of time.
And before we came, like for some reason I never doubted that like all of us would never have a problem or just fucking.
You guys were living in my house. We're like,
yeah,
met my crazy kids. Like, you know.
I remember one of the most surreal moments was when we were in LA at like the second after
the beginning of the tour.
Yeah, the beginning. And
After
I remember
hard.
Seth he's there with tennis, and they're both DJing. and in the middle of the set,
staying in the
Seth is
house together.
FaceTiming his kids on his phone. And I was like, this is incredible. I was like, this is insane.
From Hard Festival, like we're FaceTiming the kids. Like, yeah, I mean, it's just that's the life, though, man. You know, like you can go on. I think at one point, the real connection, I think why we get along so much, and something I've kind of realized in life, that high achievers in any fucking whatever they do at any age have kind of the same mindset. Like some years ago, I'd climb Mount Kilimanjaro for cancer, blah, blah, blah. We raised a bunch of money. And then, but everyone on the trip, it was 10 people. We raised like $1.3 million. But everyone was from these different fields, different CEOs or whatever. But when we were up on that mountain, we're the same type of psychos. Like there was a woman lawyer who was 70, all this stuff. But we were all the same type of mental, right? And it's like there's a certain type of kind of click and risk reward kind of value system in the mind for people who go on to achieve things, you know. And I think you've probably seen it, you know, with your friends or other creative, you know, Jordan, you know, you're friends with, but it's a certain type of way of looking at life. And I think that transcends beyond just the way that you look at your own professional career, but how you take on life in general, experiencing new things and, you know, the dynamic and wanting to go out and see life. And that's what really made, I think, so much of the trip kind of incredible, because everywhere we went, you guys wanted to do cool shit. You know, and it wasn't like hanging out with like some young kids who were just out of college and afraid to eat things or do other things. Like every day was like, how can we experience life the most? And I think that's like the real essence of, like, I think you and I and Moose are like what kind of makes us all tick, you know, and why, you know, I think a lot of your followers as well, because it's like we're all people who want to get out there and fucking live it, you know?
Yeah.
That's what it's about, you know?
Yeah, I think that was the biggest battle, at least for me, Moose.
Was trying not to live it too much.
Yeah, because there's a funny moment. You didn't come on that hike, but when we did that hike in the mountains of Ibiza, some of the like most beautiful landscape you could imagine, the guide was like, "Yo, guys, pictures," and I looked at you and I was just like, "Bro, fuck this! Like, let's just keep fucking hiking through and feeling the moment." And so I think at certain points of the tour, we were kind of just like balancing between like, yeah, like let's handle the business to get some content and stuff, which was the initial goal, to maximize on all the content.
Yeah. We did not do so well at that.
Yeah.
My wife was at one point, she's like, "What the fuck are you guys doing? You know, you're away from home almost a month. You're a fucking alcoholic." I'm like, "I'm so happy." I felt like Frank the Tank in Old School.
Yeah.
It was great. I was like, "Who wants to go run at the quad?"
I mean, I've drank before, but never to that extent.
Oh my
For that
God,
long.
guys.
That was insane.
Yeah, that was my personal best. I don't think I'll ever top that in my life.
Probably not.
It was. I mean, all these people talk about being benders, blah blah blah.
They don't know a bender.
Let me tell you guys something, okay? God rest his soul. Jack Master, Scream, and I are the last fucking rock stars. Okay, we're in old age, but you guys cannot even understand how deep wolf dogs we are. I'm a fucking bear animal that will rip your fucking head off, and if it comes down to a bend, okay? So it's like kitty, I'm on a bender. I've been up for 10 hours. Yeah,
5 years.
Well, come on, I've been up for 30 fucking days drinking competitively. This motherfucker went to fucking hospital twice.
Yeah,
when this guy came back, he almost died as well.
Yeah.
And I fucking still had another fucking 3 months of touring. And I'm like, yeah, guys, this is like normal. I mean, you put on a couple kgs in the fucking middle, but like, you know, get your fucking life together and fucking man up, you know? That's what it's about, you know? Don't cry about, like, if you want to be a fucking real elitist, let's fucking go, because that's where it's about. That's where it's at, you know?
Yeah.
It's fucking here, and it's here.
Yep.
Let's go back to a bit on the.
I want to fucking drink right now. I know I'm not supposed to be drinking, but we're on TSL. Gotta get me fucking reliving the dream, brother.
He's coming back.
Can we
Christ, I'm like sober December, but I'm just like looking at these tequilas and all this lime you got sitting out.
We do a TSL every episode, and we just got back from the gym, which is we did an incredible little lift, little sauna.
Like 5 minutes in, I'm like,
I think we earned ourselves a TSL.
Yeah, I think so.
I think we do.
I think it's about time.
I think it's time.
While I pour these up, though, Seth, for those who may be new to the podcast and maybe not know who you are, the rock star life, right? A little background when you started. What, over 20 years ago?
So, yeah, over 20 years DJing. Next year will be my 20th year as a professional DJ. Actually, really funny. There's this club in Germany called Berghain Panorama Bar. I'm playing the 20-year anniversary next week, actually. And so my first gig professionally, I would say, I was playing already in America. I was at college. I started college. I was 19, and I went to go play at the Berghain, our Panorama Bar. And that kind of started my whole thing off. And this place is legendary fucking. It's like sex club, people fucking everywhere. It's open for 3 days. People come in, they check their fucking clothes at the door. It's like, it's crazy. It's like, it's an old Nazi fucking power plant. Like literally, in like, it was in like East Germany. And it's just like, it's got fucking 3 floors, and the basement's this crazy sex dungeon and shit. It's like, it's pretty, I mean, as a 19-year-old, it's a pretty crazy way to start. But 20 years in, and coming from a different generation, I mean, you guys are part of this health generation and all this stuff, and, you know, making wise choices. And I think that's incredible. You know, that's like the best part, I think, about getting older and like wiser and seeing from generations before. But when we came up, you know, I came up with, you know, all these guys who kind of created this culture and real animals like Sven Voth and these people. And it was about like man machine, like who was the kind of toughest to like be the biggest rager, you know? And that it really was a different time. I was talking to this about to some other DJs, some of the younger guys, and even BB and some other people, and they were like saying how it used to be. And I'm like, guys, you don't understand how mental. I mean, now everyone's into dance culture and raving. But before, it was a real kind of niche culture, and we all used to be real, like, you know, 3-4 days out on the fucking lash was like, you know, average, you know? That was like that was a normal weekend. That wasn't even a bend. Come on, boys, come on.
Let's go.
It's one for old times.
One for old times.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Woo! Oh my God!
Oh
you are
my
not
God.
Sethington.
Oh my God! He said a week and a half, 2 weeks.
2
I'm
weeks.
back.
Wow.
2 weeks is strong though. That's great.
It does taste so good when it hits your lips.
So
Yeah.
wait, so at 19, I mean, you grew up in Detroit, right?
I grew up outside of Detroit, yeah, from this place called Lake Orion. I'm actually from a city called Kalamazoo, and then I moved to Lake Orion when I was like a teenager, 13. I was hanging out with stupid kids. My mom was like, nope. You know, kind of like kiddie gang shit. Like, even it's insane for me to become an artist and all this stuff that I hate to think about when I was a teenager. I was hanging out with trying to want to be gangbanger like kids, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And my mom was like, that's just so not me. But that's so easy as like a youth to be kind of, you know, whatever. You're around kids from school you grew up with. It's just like, but it's really the environment you're in that allows you to become the person that you are. You know what I'm saying? It's not, I mean, the person that you are is always there, but sometimes I think
You're the average. They say
nature, nurture, right?
Yeah,
you know
it's like you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with.
100%. Like the biggest fucking thing I've ever learned in my life. I was about 17. My friend's grandma came in this room. Maybe she was making fun of us, but she's like, "Show me your friends. I'll tell you who you are." And everything. After that point, I only surrounded myself with other friends who were like as ambitious and like kind of. I was actually just at this wedding the other day, and the groomsmen dropped this speech, you know, best man speech or whatever. And he was saying how his grandmother said this, and I clicked. She's like, when you look for friends, look for people who are enthusiastic, who are generous, and who are funny. And it's so true, because the best people you will find in life, the best friends you will find, have those 3 common traits. If you're enthusiastic, you're going for everything. If you're generous, you're kind, you're loving, you know, you're compassionate. You know, if you're funny, you're just fucking funny. Who wants to hang out with someone who's not fucking funny? It's just a tight ass all the time. Yeah. So if you go look for those kind of things, and then kind of other friends who are on that path, you just find yourself with other people who are like successful and going for it. And you push yourself throughout your whole fucking life and career. That's like the big fucking thing. Even if they're degenerates. I mean, I know people who own fucking billionaires and shit, own crazy companies. Degeneracy. High level. But it's risk reward, you know?
So at what age did you, like, was it right before?
Become a degenerate?
No.
I would say like 12, 13.
You were born a degenerate.
I was. This shit runs deep in my blood. My daddy was a degenerate. My daddy's daddy. My daddy was a degenerate. You know what I'm saying?
So before Berghain, before Germany, when, you know, after your mom was done, you started surrounding yourself with better friends and shit.
I mean, I surrounded myself with older friends very young in my life, you know? I think it's very important to have friends of many different age groups. You know, that's like one of the most important things, I think, in your life. And I have some friends who are 50, 70, you know, whatever. I have friends, you know, your guys' age, 24, 25. And it's just like really important to have those different perspectives of life, you know? And when I was in school, in high school, I went to the same high school as this guy, Matthew Deere. And he was a bit older than me. And then they saw me out when I was young, and I started working with Ghostly Records and all this stuff when I was in high school. You know, I was in the mail room and doing all this stuff. I mean, it's so important to, if you want to do something, put yourself around other people who are doing that and surround yourself by that idea, right? And even if you start at the very bottom when you're fucking a kid, you slowly understand. And like, if you want to be in the arts, go to the fucking art fairs, go try to get an internship. If you want to be in social media, if you want to do anything, make that your entire fucking life, right? That's the whole premise, right? It's not like, oh, maybe I'll do I mean, I was really lucky to know exactly what I wanted to do with my whole life since I was like 14. So that's
You knew you wanted to be a DJ?
My whole life. I went to a rave. It was my freshman year of high school. You tell your friend, I'm staying at his house. He's staying at my house, that kind of fucking thing. We met some kids from school. I was trying to buy acid, right? Because I was like tripping when I was a kid. And these kids were like, we were at this homecoming, like really typical. I mean, I lived in Lake Orion, Michigan. There's a sign when you get up. It's like the most suburban place ever. It says, we're living as of a fucking vacation. It's like out of fucking Pleasantville, right? But all the kids' families were like in like waste management because it was like this old mafia town. It's actually in Irishman. The last place Jimmy Hoffa was seen alive was Lake Orion, this fucking pub, right? And so either way, we're at this kind of classic American bonfire, high school party, big house. And these kids were like, yo, do you guys want to go to this rave in Detroit? And it was like 10 o'clock. And we're like, what do you mean? Like 10, whatever. They're like, yeah, we're going to drive to Detroit and go to this rave and take some ecstasy. And then my buddy Frank were like, yeah, fuck it. Let's fucking do it. So we went to this rave, and it was like, I can never forget it. It was like this abandoned building. And then we came inside, and it was like a real old school rave, like you had to go to this map point and all this fucking shit, and there's a number on the phone. And we get inside, and I just remember it being like this utopia moment for me. And there's like people selling drugs everywhere, and it was like and I was just like, this is the greatest. It was just such a movie for me. I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
You remember it vividly?
Vividly. I remember this room in the front, and like all these ghetto guys and all this, like, and candy girls and all this stuff. This is like 2000. And I was just like, I am going to do this every weekend for the rest of my life. I basically did.
That's the craziest fucking. That's the craziest manifestation I've ever heard of.
Straight up. I went into that rave and was like, yeah, this works for me. I mean, some people, maybe it'd be like an orgy. I don't know. Like, you have those moments, where on the gym or whatever, the things in your life, figure out whatever that thing is. And, it's like choose your hard. Someone told me this recently. It's such a big thing. Choose your hard. I mean, life is fucking a slog, right? It sucks at times. But if you make it funny and you choose what your hard is, like I made the exception to go for being an entrepreneur as you have. Once you're an entrepreneur, you actually just work all the fucking time,
It never ends.
It's not a 9 to 5
It's not a 9 to 5, which
it's all hours
to
of the
me
day.
would be much harder than working 18 million hours and being a workaholic, because I'd have to go fucking deal with people and, have to be a normal, I'd wear like my skin suit and I'm already wearing a skin suit, but it'd be like a double skin. I'm like, hello, Larry. Oh, how was the weekend? But choose your hard, choose the thing. Everything's going to be hard, but what can you bear with that's hard but like enjoyably hard?
Yeah, it's like what at the end of the day is rewarding for you
and
worthwhile to pursue all of the time that you're spending.
Like I have kids, right? Kids are so difficult, but it's so rewarding. I love that hard, and my kids are actually really sweet. So it's not even that bad for me, and I got an incredible wife. Sorry for having to drink, Kim. It's just, it's part of show business, baby. But, so it's like this whole situation of, like, I think really kind of trying to figure out what you did. So we went to that rave, and that's the story of my fucking life, really, man.
There we go. What I think is so crazy, man, and people don't realize is, like, I mean, 2 years ago, Moose and I were just yapping about, like, we got to get back into content. Want to start
trying
a podcast.
A couple different ventures that we didn't pursue, but
see what happens. And, like, in the back of your head, usually, like, probably, like, when maybe you had no doubt.
Because you were going to do finance, right?
Yeah, I was in fucking investment consulting. Yeah. He was working in real estate.
I went to school to be a graphic designer.
Yeah,
like, this fucking sucks.
I don't know if you ever, like, doubted that voice you heard in your head when you were like, fucking hell, I want to be out partying, raving, like.
I never had a doubt.
Yeah, that's fucking insane. But I think I had a little bit of doubt in the beginning because I started Daddy Wellness in 2019 and then I restarted again in 2022.
You're like a sophomore, junior in college.
But I think the doubt comes from like the idea that it's like
doubt comes from society.
This isn't a realistic thing that you can accomplish.
Doubt comes from society.
It's like I'm sure in your era it was like, oh, I'm going to become a world famous DJ. I'm sure there were a lot of people like get out like
idea of even being a DJ professionally in the early 2000s
was like taboo back then.
That wasn't taboo, but it was just like a joke.
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't until I had went to Sonar in Barcelona in 2004. Matthew Deere again was playing between Rich and Ricardo. And this is this guy from my high school. I knew him, like whatever. And I go and he's playing for 10,000 people. I just graduated high school. He's playing from 10,000 people between our two legends. And I was like, holy shit. This is a thing, this could be a thing. And once you see and meet other people who are like maybe a step away or just watching this podcast, I'm Seth Troxler, whatever. I'm a fucking degenerate like the rest of you guys. I'm a fucking normal guy,
Yeah.
I just fucking chose my thing and just really invested my whole life into it,
And that's what I think is beautiful is like at Surface Valley, you're like, I'm gonna fucking rave for the rest of my life for the next 20 years. I'm gonna figure out a way to make a living off of it and be happy. And it's like
a crazy living.
There's so many people out there who like your wildest fantasies and crazy fucking what you might first think as a hobby or just like a side quest can become a full-time thing.
Yeah,
but you
also
have to make it. You have to choose it as your heart.
Your greatest dream is also your biggest nightmare. I've had definitely ups and downs with this thing, lost loves, all these other. I fell in love with my life. I got my wife Kim, my kids, but I've like been up and down. Like my friend, like fucking one of my best friend Jack's just died. I lost so many fucking people, and life is unforgiving no matter how successful or what kind of situation that you're in. But you have to just keep it fucking moving and never for a second pity yourself, because it's hard for you, it's hard for me, it's hard for the fucking billionaire, it's hard for the lady cleaning toilets. Everyone, we're all the same, and nothing makes us better than each other, right? And once we can have that compassion and looking at life in that way, then you start to see that life is like this incredible task that we've been given the gift to experience. It's not easy, but you can get so much out of it if you just look at it in this kind of like bright way that like, oh fuck, it sucks, but you know what? I'm into it. I'm into this hard,
Yeah, I think so many. That's so important, especially when it comes to like remaining grateful during those hard times. It's like
it's very hard to remain grateful.
Of course, I'm saying it's very hard, and it's usually not.
I've got so many successful friends that hate their fucking lives. Hate them.
But what I'm saying is that like
names,
you've now been touring for 20 years. Right?
20 years next year, yeah.
And how is it? How do you? When is there that turning point from like a DJ to professional DJ? Is it when you sign to a label?
For me, I said the professional DJ point for me was playing at Panorama Bar and playing international gigs. You know what I'm saying? I was playing clubs and stuff around America and doing things before that, playing locally, having I put out a couple international records, having some type of. Basically. When I think you're a professional of anything when that's your main source of income.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
that becomes, even though I had was working at a record shop and like whatever, I was kind of like moving into the direction of being a full-time kind of artist DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
God, that drink was so fucking.
Well, if you want another one, we can. Do
No, I can't really. God, no. I had this great thing. You know what alcohol cures? Alcoholism. No, this woman was saying, I love this. No, she was saying, she's like, you know what? I've had times where things got very dark in my mind, and I thought, man, I could just drive this fucking car off this cliff right now. And then I pulled over, I had a drink, and I thought about it, and I said, you know what, I'll carry on. And I was like, gee, that is the best quote about drinking I've ever heard. She's like, alcohol cures alcoholism. It cures the invasive thoughts. It creates other invasive thoughts that, can...
Just give me a
I'll
shot.
I'll give you like a Donald Trump. Hey, yeah. But no, it's like, it can be, it can be a thing. Anyway, let's keep it fucking moving. people out there.
Dude, that's actually hilarious.
Give me a sip.
Have a drink and keep moving on. Sip.
I had a moment like that when we were in LA. When we went to the gay after party.
To Pegasus?
Yeah,
I took these guys. We did hard weekend. I did one after party, then another, and we're fucking rolling around. But the second party I did was this pretty hardcore gay party. These guys had never been to a gay party.
And I remember
before.
talking to Seth beforehand.
Like, even before we came in.
Seth was like, you got to come to the gay party. That's where all the sexiest girls are. He's like, always gay guys have the hottest girlfriends. And I'm like, all right, say less.
It's true.
We go there. There is not a single girl in
There were
sight.
some girls
Maybe
there.
one
But
out of 20. It was a 1 to 20 ratio.
It was definitely.
That was a gay
You
party.
walked in and you could smell the poppers.
Dude, when I walked in there, it smelled like lubricant, bro.
It smelled like sweat.
It smelled like Badussi.
Yeah, it did.
But no pussy.
Yeah, no.
Badussi is dick, ass, and pussy, but you know.
Literally like my undies after a gym
I
session.
smelled like
it was gross.
yo. And the room, it was like, I want to say it was like 65 degrees out in LA. You walk into the
like
room, you
110.
notice it's
like a sauna.
It's like, oh my God, bro. I just walked into the sauna.
Oh
It's like
my
you're
God.
sweating. No one's wearing shirts.
Richie left after 10 minutes with this broad.
Yeah. Richie was like, I'm out of here.
No, like the people seem to be having, the guys seem to be having a great time. They were partying, but to be honest, bro,
Everyone
I
there
had
was
never
having-
walked. I mean, you did like 2 shows that you
We
did.
had a lot of experiences I think you guys never
I
experienced.
mean, there was a lot of eye-opening, like, brand new moments that were like completely.
But I mean, how has that
nuanced.
affected you now coming back to
I
Miami?
mean, it definitely
we can-
changes your perspective on things.
Yeah,
It's
you're
like
just
you
cooler
realize,
with
like,
everything.
You realize, like, for the most part, you're kind of in a bubble most of your life, especially like in the circumstances we grew up in, where it's like we go to like a private school.
Yeah.
All these kids do the same thing. Like they come from wealthy families and all this stuff, right? And so you're kind of in your own bubble. And I think most people are always in their own bubble. They're
Yeah.
in the people. They're around the people that they
100%.
know, and they do the same things more or less. Maybe here and there they change things up. But that was like a complete shift. Everything
love
that we did
Actually,
there was
that means
new.
so much to me that you guys have that experience. You took back those
Yeah.
ideas, right? Because the thing is, it's like expanding your bubble,
Oh yeah.
right? Like the bubble continues to expand, both in work and life and understanding of people, right? We're all just people out here trying to live, and no one's better than anyone else. I mean, Moose and I, we have very different political ideas. But you know
7
what?
a.m.
We're not going into
Conversations.
that today.
Oh,
7
no.
a.m. conversation.
We're not going into that today.
One of the greatest moments of the entire tour, actually, you were not there, because Moose is conservative. I'm quite liberal. But Mochak is hyper left.
Yeah.
So we're like kind of talking about some things. And we're with Mochak and his crew after this
9
fucking
a.m.
9
after party at
a.m.
the
in this
hotel room.
hotel room. Everyone's fucking jamming. We've been drinking fucking way too much.
Drinking for 16
16
hours
hours.
straight at this point.
We're like steaming. Then we get into some politics, and then it's kind of funny because in American politics they talk about left, right. I mean, even in the most far left, it's quite centrist if you look at kind of like
Well, yeah, if you consider it
international
globally, yeah.
yeah,
like-
global politics, right? American left is not so far, but so we're kind of joking around the whole time. But then Mochak, he's from Brazil, which is left is quite left, and then Mochak goes to Moose, he goes, bro, we're fucking commies. And he's like, what? And then his friend, his tour manager, pulls his shirt off,
my God.
and he's got the hand and sickle on
Yeah,
his
he's
fucking
got the
back.
fucking fist, bro.
And then they gave him this communist socialist manifesto.
Yeah, for like 30
Americans
minutes
are just
straight,
asking
they're
for
like,
like
"Oh, you-"
like health care, and these guys are like, "Yo, bro, this is entire like fuck." Like I was just like, bro, I was looking at him, I was, I'm sorry, I did not think this would go that far.
Yeah, Seth comes up to me. He's like, "Yo, like, I didn't mean to like put you on blast." He's like, "I didn't expect this to happen." He's like,
But it was cool because we were
No, but
still,
it was super lighthearted, to be honest.
accepting
Like,
of
it wasn't
all
a big deal.
ideas, right? That's
Yeah.
the kind of general kind of position.
I think that all ties to the dance music scene as well. I mean, Moose talking about like the bubble before. Like Miami is such a bubble, and I don't know, like I always try and like expand my horizons with all sorts of people, music, things that I do.
So
I mean,
I've always found it
important.
in dance music specifically. I just like it's a feeling, bro. It's like a sense of expression. It's just like even though
That's the one thing is, music is the one thing that can cross every
Oh, yeah.
social, political. Actually, there's two
Every
things. I
barrier.
say music and food, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because I've traveled the world, and no matter what, right? People try to act like people are so fucking different, where they're from. Everyone, you guys know, everyone's the fucking same. They want to go out with their friends. You want to have a good meal with your family. You know, we put all these political borders and ideas. We all are the fucking same, except for the Japanese people who are totally fucking alien. That's a different country. Different, like, matrix. But everyone else is the same, except for them. They're advanced. But they're living on a completely different social plane. But everyone else is just trying to experience the same things, you know, and even the Japanese. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, once you're able to understand that everyone's kind of the same, you know, and then through dance music and food, we have these shared commonalities, you know, and you can be on the dance floor at Space next to people with 8 million different fucking backgrounds, but you're up there, you're in the same groove, you look at each other, you smile, and it breaks down all those kind of ideas that, you know, the media and society and all these things, these kind of nationalistic ideas that our countries create.
And
you're just
love
like
to dance
yeah.
and eat and just have a good
and
time.
fuck, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
put the old 1-2, baby. There's a lot of people on the planet. A lot of people are fucking.
Yeah, I've never thought about it that way, but that is true. Food and music.
Food and music
There's
is the only.
There's no barrier.
The only thing that there's no barrier, and that we kind of had this kind of extreme commonality that makes us all human, and that's kind of like, I think, really quite a great observation for people to take on, because we get into these tribalistic ideas and cultures, and I'm into this and I'm into that, and you're different than me, and we're all the fucking same. You know, it's everyone's the fucking same. Maybe you like this music or that music or whatever, but deep down, inherently, we kind of think as humans have the same. We should have the same kind of values and tolerances with each other, and that's what I think this music and our lifestyle, and hopefully you live into this podcast, you also kind of see. You know, just like, don't be a fucking prick. You know, and just let people get on with their shit. You know, I want to get on with my shit. I want you to get on with your shit, and that's fucking cool. So you're entitled to your own ideas. You know. Just be a fucking nice person.
100%.
Yeah.
What are your...
Let's keep it moving. God, that fucking drink was.
Yeah, dude. I'm thinking about making another. But
Yeah,
Oh God.
I
Okay, I'm not. You don't twist my arm.
Two is okay. We're behaving.
All
We're
right,
behaving.
fine. I give up.
What are your Seth? What are your thoughts really on the way things have changed? You know, on the dance floor. Not more the music, but just, dude, the phones nowadays. Like,
yeah, what's your opinion on that?
Like, I think there's nothing you can do about it, and I think, like, there's been, I used to record, like, when I first started getting in, going to shows and stuff, I would record a few videos and stuff, and I've completely stopped.
Well, I think the entry point, right? There's always an entry point for people, right? If you're young, you're going out, you're part of this culture, whatever, you're just starting to go out, you're part of this kind of, I was telling you, I just got off all social media, right? I deleted everything. I mean, I still have people running my shit or whatever. I'm like a public figure. But, like, I deleted it personally because, like, I had my friend Jack Master passed away, and I was looking at shit after he passed, and everything just seemed so fucking trivial because I was like, fuck. Like, who gives a fuck? You know? Like, you know, that's just, like, my mindset, and I was just really fucking bumming me out. And then I got into this whole kind of scenario where I was like understanding kind of people and like kind of society. And I mean, like, I think everyone gets in at these different levels, right? So when I got in, it was like, you know, this really elitist idea. I was no question then that electronic music was going to be this fucking global phenomenon, you know? And everyone gets in from different places and different, you know, scenes or whatever. The American culture is different than the European, this or that. But as you said, when you started, you were into that thing. But now you've gotten more into it and invested into it. And now that, like, EDM is basically techno, what I started, right? Mm-hmm. Or my culture, before it was very distinctively different. Like Steve Aoki and me were,
yeah,
like,
that was like the progressive house era.
Even progressive house was even still closer. But, like, when you look at, like, Sonic Ear Rape and what I do, they were like fucking total polar opposites, right? Mm-hmm. But now that kind of thing, even Tiesto plays tech house now, right? You know,
yeah, I mean,
like,
I've seen it shift over the years. As someone who's been a fan of the genre for a long time, you see how it's like preferences change and then artists kind of adapt.
Cheers, boys.
And cheers. But I've always found that interesting, and it seems that the people and the DJs that have persevered through like the test of time, like I've seen DJs come onto the scene, they explode. Within a year, they're like, I don't know, like top 10 in the U.S. or top 10 globally. And then they just kind of fall off as easily as they came up.
Well,
and
I
it was
think-
like a quick up and down.
I think it's a TikTok era, to be honest.
But it's a TikTok era, but I think it's also a testament to the dedication of your craft,
Yeah.
right? Whatever you do, whatever your industry is, if you're in the fucking game, in it because you're a lifer, then you're in it. If you're in it because it's a quick buck, then I think that kind of those are strong.
This is a strong
Okay.
drink.
My bad. I didn't.
Bro poured I was watching him
I had
pour
that
it,
fir-
and
I
it's
had
half
that-
the
I had
glass.
that first sip, I was like, oh, whoa.
This is rough.
No, but I think the difference is like that. I think in any brand or any person, artist or whatever, it's about that, not purism, but like honesty.
Love for the game.
Love for the game, right? If you're in the fucking game because you love the game, and you're gonna be in the game if you're fucking rich or poor, because that's your fucking game.
Yeah.
That's the people that last forever, right?
100%.
And a long buck is a lot more money than a quick buck,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, David Guetta recently did this like podcast, and he was talking about how like nowadays there's a big like difference between entertainment and
Artist.
an artist.
I've said that forever.
And
Yeah.
an entertainer. An entertainer, he said, is he's just playing a few of his songs or their songs and same set usually, and then more of an artist is playing the tracks that they never hear.
Yeah,
right?
that's the
and
whole thing.
curating a different vibe.
And that's a different thing too, because some cultures of people, like, let's also go back to the phone thing. If you look at, like, let's say, these are friends of mine, by the way, like Tale of Us or Klein Music, right? You go to those shows, the people go to those shows, the same songs get played. It's like a concert, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're going to a concert, your favorite song comes up, you know the song. Yeah, you record it because you're at the concert listening to your favorite song, like you're at Chaperone or whoever the fuck you listen to. I love Chaperone, by the way. But like the thing is, like when you come see a person like me, it's all about the idea that I'm presenting you music. You're coming because you trust my taste.
Yeah.
And me as an artist,
You like broaden their horizons when
Yeah,
you show
that's
up.
not
It's
broadening
like,
their-
I'm going to show you something new that you haven't
I
experienced.
find it like it's
before.
an omakase type of thing, and you're changing the menu every time.
Exactly.
It's like, here's what I'm
It's like
thinking
this-
today.
You like
the
the
chef's
restaurant,
taste.
fucking trust me, right? It's not like you're not going because you're here for one dish, I'm saying, well, I like a lot of restaurants where I go for one dish.
Yeah.
I'm not saying if I like a dish, you want to see or hear your dish if you're going for that. But other things, you're like, fucking surprise me. I love that kind of nature to be surprised by things, I think the TikTok culture and all these other things have taken away the idea of surprise being worth value, and
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. 100%.
the intuitive idea, because everything is list, and I need to go check off all these fucking boxes when I go to a city, and I need to hit all these things because they're top 10 or this or that. And how about just fucking go live it and see what happens
Yeah.
and explore life, explore yourself. That's exciting.
Yeah,
right?
like there would be times where you would be bringing in a track, and I would
You heard a lot of fucking sets,
yeah,
and you're just like, how the fuck?
I'll be completely honest. Like, I've been partying for 2-3 years at this point before we went on this tour.
Yeah.
And you've heard great music, and you definitely corrupted my ears a bit. Like I'm serious. Like 20 years in the game, and Moose, I'm sure you can relate. Is just like it's a different ball game. Really, when after seeing you that many times, it was just like
Every night it was different.
I just
Yeah.
remember there were certain times where it's like, even when you were here recently in Miami performing, what was it?
space.
I've played in Miami 4 times in the past 2 months, right? And each set has been
Well,
different.
I'll tell you. From the event we went to with the backstage area and everything.
Yeah,
what
we
was
were
that?
at
That was
3 points.
3 points. From 3 points to the space set
The
you did at
space.
Monday.
Not
Monday,
one,
2
not,
weeks ago.
not,
3 weeks ago.
No, I had space also after 3 points, and then I came back and did
Yeah.
space again. And that all 3 times, I think I had 4 songs I repeated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
4
like,
repeats.
and
I
I
played,
was
I
just
think maybe
loving
15
life.
hours.
Yeah, I think
18 hours of music.
Yeah, and I think usually more towards the end of the set when you're playing like some maybe classical funky stuff.
Yeah, then you can repeat it a
Yeah,
little bit, yeah.
those are insane. But no, back to what you were saying about the different tastes, the different meals, the omakase. Like sometimes like you hear a different song coming in and you hear the kick and the bass and you think it's a song that you know, but then some completely different thing comes in and you're like, what's going on?
I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
I have to pull out the Shazam.
Back to what I was saying before, though, in terms of like what separates the DJs that last from the DJs that don't, is that one thing I have noticed is the DJs that last really understand how to control the crowd. And they can pick up on the cues of like the people, how they're dancing, what they're looking like, if they're in the vibe. And I remember you did that so many times on tour. And I remember there were even times where you would come out of it and you were like, yeah, like at one point in the set, they weren't feeling it that much. And then I switched it deeper. And then I catered to what they wanted and still what I wanted, and just kind of meshed the two together, and we're able to make it insane.
As a presenter of music, right? Everything that I play, I like because I bought it, right?
Yeah, of course.
So, but it's like I think as a DJ, I mean, so many people, and it's back into this kind of idea of identities, right? I think right now we're in such this, like, I have a 90s kid, right? I was born in the 80s. I grew up in the 90s, and like the idea of identity was like now it's so tribal, you know, and kind of woke, and everyone has to be these different fucking things.
Labels.
You have to fit into this certain category.
Fuck the labels, guys. Like, really, look at me. Fuck the labels.
Yeah,
just fucking go out there.
I think it oversimplifies people.
Yeah, it does. But it complicates everything a little bit more, you know? It's actually simpler. Oh, come here.
Oh, yeah, let me get one of those. Shit. I'll take that one.
Airdrop.
A little African sugar.
Almost.
So close. Oh, God.
A little sugary.
Yeah, was, you know, as soon as the second drink starts kicking in,
Oh, yeah, you
the
got
nicotine craving also ramps up big time.
Yeah. Cravings for other things, too.
But talking about you know, the crowd and.
Yeah, no, so it's about, you know, adapting. But I think life is really about adapting, right? And it's like you can take so many principles of what I do and different things, and you just adapt them for your whole life, you know? I had friends in life who were super talented, right? But they were so rigid, and they're, damn, this motherfucker's burning. It's been a little while. They were so rigid in the idea of what they thought and how things should go, right? Like they're like, they woke up every day and produced and did all this stuff, and everything had to go in these certain ways. But life's not that simplistic. It's not that evolved that much around a formula, right? You have to, every situation is different, and you have to be able, as a CEO, like in a way I own 3 companies, as a person, as an entrepreneur, to be able to look at any situation that you're in and see what fits the best for that situation and what you can contribute in some way to that situation. You know, it may be a little bit left or a little bit right to, like, let's say the prime perfection of what you want your situation to be, but it's still within the operational parameters of what that can fucking be or what you can deliver, right? So instead of considering, sorry, my shirt's white, I don't know how the fuck, instead of considering some fucking box like this, you know, consider it like this. It's a 3-dimensional fucking plane. You're playing 3-dimensional chess out here, right? If you're really trying to succeed in life and looking at every fucking thing and being like, look, you know, this kind of fucking, you know, like fucking Charles Manson when he does that demon dance. You got the 3-dimensional plane. Check it up on YouTube. Charles Manson dance. It's fucking crazy. He's like,
yeah, I think. I mean, I heard this quote recently. I don't mean to cut you off here, but it's like, prepare to plan or plan to fail, but always know that, like, it's not going to go.
It doesn't.
It's never going to be a linear or exactly what you expect.
As soon as you throw an expectation or anything in, you're gonna fucking be disappointed, right? Like, I have this whole kind of thing in life, right? I like to be the passenger in the car, right? Because every time in my life when I tried to be the driver, right, and tell life exactly, I know how to fucking get there. I'm fucking smarter than you. I believe I have a really I have it tattooed it on people. I make tattoos. Faith and fate, right? Like, you have to have faith in life, right? And when you submit to, like, life taking you in the places that you're supposed to be, and you have faith in that process, then all the fucking doors are open. But you got to have your eyes open to fucking see these doors and possibilities that are happening, right? So I had this thing where I was like, you know, I've done well in my life. I fucked up more than, guys, I have literally shit the bed many times. But
everyone has.
No, I'm saying actually, literally, I've shit.
Oh yeah, I've shit the bed a few times.
But I figured he have shit the bed as well, and you know, like, But through having those experiences, you learn so much more about life, and the determination of like where you end up in life is just having faith in the process and every day committing to doing the process of whatever that is. Like an artist, there's this artist, I forgot his name, is Japanese artist. Every day of his career, 40 years, all he does, black paints a fucking thing black, and then in white paints the date. Right? It's exactly the same, everything. But that repetition of your process, he became a world famous artist, right? So every day, you know, working out, committing every day to whatever your process or your fucking thing is, the doors in the fuck, I call it riding the cosmic wave, it works, right? It's like having an Uber. You set the direction, right? You're like, I need to go here. I'm going there. And every day, everything you do, you work to go there, but you're not telling yourself, I got to plan this or this or this, or like trying to get so strategic with it. Just do it every day in that moment, and it fucking works. Be the passenger of life, know the destination.
Yeah, that's an amazing metaphor. It's more of just like surrendering to what's to come and enjoy the process. There's this one, I think there's this quote that I read during the tour. It was funny, I read it during the tour. It was like, when it comes to like entrepreneurship and business, it's not about the most talented or the smartest. It's about the last man standing.
Yo,
who's willing to stay in the game the longest?
Me and my friends talk about this all the time. It's endurance, right? It's faith and endurance. I mean, you look at, we're going back to DJs, artists like Honey Dijon. Honey Dijon's been playing fucking since I was a kid. You know, she was already quite big, but she didn't break until the last, oh damn, that fucking smoothie. Last 5-6 years, right? You know, but it's like that faith in both the culture and that commitment to what you're doing or what you believe in so much of your life. It's like actors, you know? Bryan Cranston from like fucking Breaking Bad. He was a fucking dad on everybody. Malcolm in the Middle.
I remember
he had so many shit roles for so many years until he became.
People were shocked when they saw what he was actually able to accomplish.
An incredible actor he was.
But
right?
I think that's the truth in a lot of actors. A lot of actors find themselves, and I'm sure in other industries as well, it's like they find themselves in these roles, and then they find it difficult to escape that. Meanwhile, their talent far exceeds what they're currently doing.
The belief.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're
not stopping, because if he gave up there, he would have never been in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, but true people who love their craft, and it's going back to the kind of, I think, theme of this kind of conversation is about just believing in finding what, choose your heart, finding what you fucking believe in, and going for that, you know. And every day, whether you're a fucking builder or whatever. Like, this is the thing about the Japanese that's different than everyone.
Hey, I wanted to ask you about that. Yeah. What's up with the Japanese?
Yo, if you've ever been to Japan, you got to go to Japan.
We're going to go next year.
It's the only matrix in the world. I mean, it's kind of like this post-future, because it's like China's actually futuristic. You go to China, it's like fucking Blade Runner. Like, really, they've already won. Honestly, guys, they have a 500-year plan. Just fucking submit to the fact that they will be our overlords.
But what about the Japanese?
But the Japanese, right? Japanese have, well, one, they don't have a word for me, right? Everyone refers to themselves directly, right? Like Hasori-san or like whatever. So like everything's in first person in a way. But they have this incredible thing of dedication and pride in whatever they do, right? And it's like a deep pride from if you're cleaning a toilet or the street to being...
Like they even did that like during the World Cup. Everyone was shocked. Like the World Cup in what was it? Qatar? Yeah, this most recent one. After the games with Japan, it's like they were all standing there in the stadium cleaning up all the trash that people dropped on the floor.
That's insane.
And the people in Qatar were like, "Why are you doing this?" It's like, this is what we do. This is our culture. Like we take pride in keeping things clean, making sure everything's like good.
And that's like the whole. What was the original? I'm sorry.
I'm saying because you were talking about Japan being, you know, kind of.
No, but before that, we got to Japan like just talking about. So taking pride.
Yeah.
In what you do, right, and finding that thing, and not just doing the half-ass bit, or doing like enough to get by, but doing the most you can, all the time.
Those guys work unbelievably hard.
Yeah,
like I mean, I've done a lot of like research into Japan because it's like a passion of mine.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy like learning about.
I
their
can see you have a
culture.
little Asian wife.
Yeah, I've had my fair share of Asians. in my life.
Me too. It's a thing.
I do want to visit Japan for like a multitude of reasons. One, like I think their culture is very, like vastly different
God damn,
and
I'm
also
fucking
super
lit. Sorry.
interesting.
You're good.
And it's like it's like.
Oh, damn, I fucking have to sit down.
But like everything about their culture, from like sitting on their knees like on little pillows and eating food like that, or like their love for being super thankful people and being very kind and accepting of other people, but also loving their own country.
Yeah.
Like they are very Japanese oriented. Like
Oh,
they
yeah,
love Japan.
The thing is, even if you're half Japanese, you're not Japanese in the
Yes,
ideas.
no,
Have you ever
100%.
Have you ever played in Japan?
Many times. I was engaged to a Japanese woman, Sonoya Mizuno, the actress, years ago. She was in Ex Machina. She's just done a bunch of movies now.
Holy shit.
But yeah, I was going there a lot in my mid-20s and, experiencing that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
But it's like, ultimately, at the end of the day, it's like, why is the best pizza in the world the Japanese person? Or like, the best, because they refine and dedicate their lives to whatever craft it can be. And I think we could all learn a lot from that.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the guys who take the trains there? They work like 22 hours a day. They
Yo,
sleep
five-year-olds,
in the bars.
5-year-olds take the train to school. And Japanese have this thing that every Japanese is responsible for the children.
Oh, that's crazy.
So, like, a child who's, like, this fucking big is on the fucking tube with you in their little backpacks. And everyone in society, it's their responsibility that child is safe. Which I don't think we don't have.
That's
I mean, I live in Switzerland. Like, in Switzerland, it's kind of the same at, like, 5, 6, first grade. All the kids walk to school by themselves. But in America and all these other things, we have, they're so dangerous. There's so much of these, so many other things, because people don't have, I love the multiculturalism, but people don't have this kind of shared cultural identity and fucking value system, right? And the shared value system, like we go back to dance music, is what really creates communities and ideas. Like your community that you've started with TSL, there's a shared value system and idea of exploring life and health and also being like a fucking normal person that like creates this community and this kind of idea of living. And that's what I think many of us, we want to find different ways to kind of identify ourselves, but being too overly kind of conscious about that being your only identity and then excluding other identities is where I think people have problems. But like being like very idealistic in your own identity but completely open to all others is really the sweet spot where you get to fucking experience life to the max.
Yeah. Do you I was reading
taste the flavors.
Yeah.
Why do you think the Japanese are such horny fucks, though?
Huh?
Why do you think the Japanese are
Well,
such
the perversion.
Is this an
true.
opinion?
No.
Well,
Think about the Japanese porn culture, bro. It's the
No.
biggest porn culture in the world.
Because the thing is, there's a sexual repression in Japan, right?
Mhm.
Sexuality is very, like.
But like, isn't
It's-
it rewarded
No,
more
it's,
so in Japan?
no, it's taboo.
Because, but
So
at
the
the
thing
end
is,
of the
the
day,
more-
every Japanese like TV show, anime, whatever, they always have the guy who's the pervert and loves women
yeah.
and is enamored by women.
But that's because
always
because
there.
because in fantasy, you can act out what you can't act out in society, right?
So it's like a means of expressing.
a means of expressing a way that you're kind of you're hindered. You're
Because
held
I
back.
saw this one video of this like American girl
They're like,
who
God,
went
I
to
can't
visit
fuck.
Japan.
I want to see some aliens fuck a chick.
But it's like I went to see
I
like I
had little
watched this one
pee-pee.
video of this American chick. She went to visit Japan. She was just like basically explaining to people like, if you're a girl and you're somewhat attractive and you go to Japan, expect to be bombarded by men because it's just a different culture. So like them hitting on you openly out everywhere and like being very aggressive about it is normal there. That's just like the way it is.
It's actually okay to have a mistress there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Like wives are like, you can go fuck prostitutes, but you come back home.
And then they
to
have
the-
those
to the-
women.
to the it's like very open. Like yeah, like whatever, you're married.
They have the
like,
geishas,
as long
right?
as you're geisha. Like as long as you come home to your wife, the wives are like whatever. Because
What's the divorce rate out there?
very low, but they don't have.
No, it's not.
It is.
I feel like it is.
It's
one of the
lower?
lowest in the
Makes
world because they have this. They don't have this expectation that a partner should fulfill every desire, everything, and also be home. And you know what I'm saying? It's just like a different idea. And everyone has their different ideas. I'm married with kids. I have a different idea. I have a kind of quite traditional idea of marriage and these things. With my wife and I, we both have this kind of I'm very liberal. You guys know me. I'm fucking. But when it comes to family, I'm like quite.
It's very traditional.
Yeah. I grew up with my grandparents who were born in the 20s, right?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like
No, that's
we were together
true.
since they were like 12 and through the Great
I
Depression
think
and World War II.
I think that's a beautiful part of life, the
Yeah.
traditional family aspect of like,
Yeah.
you're with someone that you really do
we
care about.
We all make our choices, right?
Yeah.
And like, but that's like another thing. But I think it's just coming back to this idea of just choosing the life that you want to live and, being in the passenger and just going for that, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude, and it's crazy. I mean, sometimes I mean, dude, after the tour, when we got back, coming back to the post tour, dude, Moose and I were down bad, like really down bad, and to the point of the passenger, it was like we went from such a high of just like
Life,
yeah, such a high of life, just like really a dream. You know what I mean? Being able to experience that through your lens, be able to go to all the shows, meet so many people, experience such a, people dream of that experience. And when we got back, dude, like Moose was in the fucking hospital the day he landed.
I mean, if you guys remember, for the audience, they don't
went to
know.
the
They don't
hospital
know the story.
You went to the hospital 3
So
times.
like we end up in London, right? We're in London. I forget where we were before. I think we were in France. We were in Saint-Tropez. Then we go to London. We're in London. We meet up with Tim. Tim is now, I guess, going to be the new tour manager.
Tim's my logistics guy. He was the tour manager for Dubfire forever. Sasha, he's like, he's 50. He's an old dog.
But he's got more energy than us. Tim is an animal, and I love Tim. And Tim was like,
big shout out, Dingo.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
sir.
And we're
He's
there.
he's a real dog. He's a road dog.
And in Europe, they roll their cigarettes, right? But Tim is one of the only people I've ever met in my life that rolls the cigarette, but without the filter. And so I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I have asthma. I'm just like, fuck it.
Bro.
I'm gonna ask Tim for a cigarette. He would always roll it up.
We
like,
were
no
at
questions asked.
We were like in a bar lock-in.
Yeah, we were
at a pub.
Yeah, we were in a
closed
pub.
up.
Drinking beers.
The pub was closed. They opened the pub for us.
Yeah. And I probably had like 12 unfiltered cigarettes,
Yo, this
which is
guy
the worst
fucking,
thing for me.
This guy is pouring fucking beers, slurring smokes. He's like, bah, 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 bah. And we're like, oh, it's fucking cool. You're behind the bar. You're like, this is the greatest
Life was
day.
great.
Next day.
Till 5 a.m. the next morning.
Yeah, you were
Next morning, I wake up coughing like a 65-year-old,
And-
40-year-old smoker.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure people next door to me were like freaking out. They were like, yo, this guy has tuberculosis or something like that.
But did you stop smoking on this tour?
Yeah, no. After that, I had to take a fucking
didn't.
break.
You smoked again.
He smoked a few more afterwards.
Yeah,
I might have smoked a couple.
Yeah.
Which is
But
insane.
I wake up at 5 a.m. We have a flight to Ibiza at 11 a.m. And I'm like, fuck it, dude. Like, I actually have to go to, like, the urgent care right now. I get to the urgent care. It's like 7:45 in the morning. I'm there 15 minutes before they open. I'm in there getting prescribed a bunch of shit. I was kind of heat because, like, I was always under the impression that medications were cheaper in Europe, and I ended up with $250 of bills for medications. And I was like, fuck, this sucks. I'm sure it's cheaper if you live in Europe and you're actually part of it.
Spain. England's
But,
not
like,
cheap.
fuck me. I ended up €250. That's like $325.
Yeah.
So I'm there, and somehow I made it to the fucking airport that day before you guys even got there. I was in, out, pharmacy, straight to the airport. And then Ibiza was just rough. Like, I was just kind of just chilling in the bed for
You
like
were dead.
20 hours of the
You
day.
were dead. You came back, you got shingles. Like,
Oh,
No,
yeah.
yeah,
And then
no.
when I landed in the
You
U.S.,
had
full
blood.
blown
I
chills.
had strep, which is
You had
fucked.
strep.
And then a week and a half later, he was down in the trenches.
I remember,
and I was still on tour.
yeah, no. But the thing is that
I'm still on tour from that tour,
Yeah.
actually.
August for those who don't know, August is the final month
'cause
of
I did more
holiday summer
I
in
did more
Europe.
shows than you guys. Because everyone in Europe, they take off from August is just off. Like, the whole month of August. Like, factories, everything shuts down. Everyone goes to the fucking holidays.
It's party season in August.
Yeah, it's just like summer holiday,
I would call it the degenerate Olympics.
I remember
August.
you said one thing, which is that, like, every day in Europe in August, there's like a new, like, there's like a different holiday somewhere.
Yeah.
There's always a different place that's celebrating something on a given day, and there's always a party. And I was just like, damn, that's crazy.
Fucking hot
Love
in here.
Europe.
It's hot in here. It's getting a little, I was probably a little techie.
I
but
think
we
it's
got
the
Yeah.
But what I was saying about the passenger seat thing is, I mean, obviously I have like all the business in the U.S., right? We have the podcast, we have the content and stuff. And as soon as we got back from the tour, 30 days of nonstop, right? Best time ever. Dude, the first 3 weeks I was with Moose, and I was like, bro, like I can't.
I remember we would even go to the gym.
I was like, bro, like my head just, I can't.
We would go to the
I
gym.
can't turn it off.
And one of my friends, like we're sitting on the treadmill, we're looking at Richie in the gym we went to today, and he was just like, dude, like Richie just does not look good. And I was like, neither do I, bro. But we're like pushing through it and trying to get past it.
That's what we were saying earlier. You're like, Seth, like I don't think people understand the different levels of dog.
No,
yeah,
they don't.
But that was the thing.
I don't blame them.
From someone going from being able to live through that and then coming back, it's just like, and this applies to whatever you do, whether it's a tour or you go on a vacation or you just take some time off from doing the main thing that you're doing. It's just like you can't force getting back into that flow of routine and stuff. You kind of need to surrender and be like, I'm gonna get back into this.
You gotta get in the
and we're gonna take
seat.
it slow, get in the passenger seat. And dude, it took me 2 months, Seth, to fucking be like, fucking A, man, like. Even just like, I got back and I was just craving like gambling, fucking going out, which is, I mean, always a little bit, but fucking A, dude, it was a wild ride getting back, man.
It is really, I mean, right now I'm just kind of taming down from the summer as well. And, people wonder, like, why do all the big DJs always play all the time? Because it's like, there's not many people who can do it like we do it, you know what I'm saying, who can sustain at this level for so many years. And that's why you see DJs and other people drop out or whatever, because it's a fucking very hard life, It's a life that consumes.
How many shows do you think you did this year?
130?
130 shows.
Yeah, easy.
It's like a show every 3 days.
Just shy of half a year.
Yeah.
That's
every day.
Insane.
Yeah, and I take like a month off, 2 months off. Yeah.
And I mean, aside from, of course, it's your work.
I got kids.
Yeah, you got kids. I mean, you have family. I mean, aside from it being your work, I mean, do you think there's still moments where you see it as in like, I mean, of course, like where you love it and it's more than just work, or do you think?
Like leading up to COVID, I was getting really over it. I was like, fuck, it was before I had kids and all this other stuff, and I was just like, what the fuck am I doing this for? I had won every award. I played everywhere in the world. I made millions of dollars, like whatever. And I just got like kind of the endurance to keep yourself fucking rolling, right? And to keep going. That's the hard part. Becoming successful, that ride up, that's fucking fun and easy, right? You become successful, notoriety, people love you, maintaining, right? And that's the hard part, I think, of any brand or any business, is maintaining success, right? And that is what people fucking forget about. Yeah, people want to get famous and do all this shit. Yeah, you might get famous, but how do you stay in that game, right? How do you stay relevant, And that's something that I think we all need to think about. How do you continue to keep your personal brand, whatever it may be, or your business kind of moving and evolving, and still staying true to yourself and not going for fucking easy cherry pick, whatever. I can take this easy route and this is going to be a quick buck, right? But that might fuck up your whole fucking brand, right? So many things, even this kind of tour that we did, because I remember you even like, because you stopped doing so much content during that time because we were just fucking living life. It took a while for you to get the algorithm to recognize you again.
100%.
It was like a whole fucking thing, right? So you're like, how? Like, shit, I got to fucking continue to work. And it's not easy, people. It's not easy to fucking continue to have that hunger, to have that fucking, I'm the motherfucker.
Yeah.
That fucking Dirk Diggler looking at yourself in the mirror, fucking dick hanging. You're like, I fucking do this.
Yeah.
Like,
you think it comes to that point you mentioned of just like staying true to your values and just never, and like, because of course when things get tough, you're like, oh, like maybe I should do this, or maybe I should take this deal or try this something new out, versus like staying true to the roots and
I think
doing
the values are part of it, but the real part
is the dog,
is being a fucking motherfucker, and it's like either you're born a motherfucker or you're not, and it's like if you fucking pity yourself, you're out of the fucking game. Like whatever, it's like you want gains in the fucking gym, don't be a fucking bitch. You want gains in life, don't be a fucking bitch. Fucking go for it and fucking get up every day and be like, I'm fucking eating today. You know, I'm fucking eating like I'm fucking eating steak. I'm fucking bleeding from the fucking mouth because I'm the fucking dog. You know, and that's the fucking real thing, you know, that people can't forget. You want to be a motherfucker, you got to be a fucking motherfucker.
Like a lot of people have become the consumer in today's
everyone
world.
wants it easy. Everyone wants it like
everyone
to be given
expects
to them.
that, like, you know, life will just work out perfectly for them without lifting a pain.
Even when
And
life
it's
is
impossible.
fucking perfect, it's not fucking perfect, and you have to work for it.
There's always something to
and
work
I think
towards.
younger generations, I don't want to be like kind of generationalist, but the younger generations expect things to work and expect things to be given, and you aren't given shit in life, you know. And I know friends who fucking come from crazy families. I have really close friends, fucking $20-30 billion, and they fucking, their lives suck. The family dynamic, so much different shit, and they have to work so fucking hard. So even if you're born with a silver spoon, it's not fucking easy, right? And it still fucking sucks. And you have to wake up every fucking day and be like, I'm fucking eating today.
Yeah.
If you want to fucking go somewhere in your life. And that's the real point of this podcast. Whatever we're talking, we're trying to express give some extra, you know, whatever. We have some fun anecdotes, whatever. We're doing crazy shit. Like, you guys we actually didn't cover any of the fucking crazy shit that happened on this tour. Like, Jesus Christ. It was like, it was.
I think but
it was wild.
I mean, I'm sure we all have unique perspectives.
Like my mom listens to this.
But like,
she
what?
fuck.
Like,
She knows.
She knows.
what
Mom
was
was so
your
sweet,
guys'
actually.
like favorite part of like the month we spent together? I think that's
For
a
me, it
unique
was
thing.
just hanging out with you guys and getting in a new shared perspective, right? You guys gave me a lot of energy towards life, right? Because it's easy. Well, all your friends are 40, 50 years old or whatever, and a lot of them are on like a different second, third lives. I'm on my third, fourth. You know what I'm saying? There's a different perspective towards life, right? But seeing the hunger in your guys' eyes, to see you guys experience all these things for the first time was like I was experiencing for the first time, and it gave me a gratitude personally of what I did, but also like an excitement that I'm like, this is fucking sick. You know? I wake up, I'm like Kanye West. I'm fucking sick, and I do sick shit, you know? I'm fucking tight. I do tight shit every fucking day.
Yeah.
You know, but that was a choice in my life that I woke up one day. I fucking worked at the Palace of Auburn Hills. I've had 2 jobs in my life. I worked at a record store, and I worked at a fucking sports arena. I was signing people up for all this shit. They made me retire. They made me quit because I had this hair. I fucking retired from working. I sent them a fucking mail. I was like,
They made you quit because of the hair?
No, they wanted me to fucking
No
cut
dreads,
my hair
no?
off, and I was
you
like,
told me
I was like, fuck you. I had the long dreads, and I was like the #1 fucking person doing all this like fan reward shit. And they're like, yo, you need to cut. I was like, yo, fuck this shit. I make my own rules because I want to fucking live the life I want to live. I came from nothing. I had a single mom, had me when she was 18, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, I don't want this to be my life, and I want to live a different life. And I went out. I fucking put my fucking pants on, put my fucking dick in my underwear, and fucking was like, I'm going to fucking live the life that I want because it is your personal fucking choice. Every day you have the choice of the life that you want to live. And I think people forget that. But every day that you wake up, your life can be whatever the fuck you want. And people think, okay, I'm stuck in this direction or that direction. No, you're stuck in your own mind of lack of choice. But if you want to get up tomorrow and lose 100 pounds, then get up tomorrow and lose a fucking 100 pounds. If you want to get up tomorrow and you hate your girlfriend in your life, break up with your girlfriend in your life or your boyfriend and fucking start something new. You are not predetermined to live any life that you fucking think you're meant to live besides the life that you choose, right?
Yeah.
And I heard this quote the other day. It's like, if you are like, I can't remember the quote, but you're basically complicit in any decision that you make, right? If you are like, oh, I'm overweight, but like I can't change it, you're choosing to be overweight.
Yeah.
Right?
It is a choice.
It's a choice.
That's
right?
that I mean, to that point, that was one of the, I mean, for me, like the tour thing was, there was 2 things. It was more of just like, from being someone who would go to the shows to see you, always love this
You
music.
kept bringing this up to see how it operates.
Yeah, so like Alvaro, for example, who was one of my closest friends.
Crazy
like,
bro.
Crazy bro, who introduced
That face plan, brother.
who introduced me more to just like your music and a lot of like dance music. Like he always told me, it was like we used to talk about like being at your shows or other shows. We're just like, bro, just imagine what it must feel like to be in there with the artist and be able to experience what that feeling must be that he's curating for the crowd and making people feel this amazing feeling. And then like, if you would have told, if I was to be told like you're gonna go on tour with Seth Troxler in 2024, and you're gonna go across 5 countries in 30 days, I would have laughed. I would have been like, that's impossible. But and so when I was able to live it with you and see it, it really made me realize like, bro, like you have the choice. You can make it happen. Anything is fucking possible.
Well, also
we're drinking right now, having a conversation on a podcast. Yeah. We're having a great time, and like we're doing it.
But the thing is, even how the whole thing came up, you put yourself on a path, cosmically, where basically you put out to the world a thing that I saw, and I was like, this guy's fucking fun. I'm a fan. We met each other. He's like, I'm a fan too, and I was like, yo, let's do some dope shit. Right? It was like very natural, you know?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, driven people are attracted to each other.
Driven people, 100%.
And it's like that vibe that
your vibe attract your tribe.
Yeah,
you radiate
exactly,
that
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like there's a reason why successful people meet other successful people. It's because they're both into the same thing. And that thing is like whatever. Like,
I mean, if I'm around people who don't...
I'm into passionate people.
Yeah,
people who are like, I love what I do.
Enthusiasm. That's what I said.
I've always found that super interesting.
Generosity. Fucking comedy. That's all you got to fucking do, and you meet all the right people.
Yeah.
You know, but one thing as well we talked about before that I think a lot of people understand. They see like me on stage and other things. But
they don't see this side, though, a lot of people. That's why I really wanted to have this convo with you. It's amazing.
See all the other shit also it takes to get to the shows, you know, the lack of sleep, you know, like the fact that you were on a plane 6 to 7 hours a day trying to get to, or in transit, trying to get to each of those shows. You know, they see the 2 hours on the stage and like, oh, that's fun and game. But was having a good time. But the amount of people we had in the background.
And all those people were great.
All the people are great, you know.
Unbelievable.
But the teams of people in every city and my team, everything that you see how these fucking everything works, you realize that this is like really a crazy industry with a lot of driven people who are working super hard to create these like quote unquote experiential moments for people, and then they just kind of see this few hours at a party, but they don't understand all the work before that takes to get there.
Right? Like, listen, we've never been on tour with another DJ, so we can't speak to like what it would be like. But I highly doubt that there's anyone in the game that has as good of a crew around them as Seth does in every fucking country. Whether you're in Italy, whether you're in France, whether you're in Spain, Croatia, wherever the fuck, you could be in Egypt, whatever. Seth knows at least 5 people in each of these locations that are unbelievably fun. Yeah. Like every single one of them are the fun, like most fun people I've ever like interacted.
I remember bringing that up on the tour, and I was like, yeah, bro, like, you know, but I've collected these people through time and understanding, you know, and just like only surrounded myself around people who were like had those traits, who were really kind and like kind of enthusiastic humans, and you just find these great, you know, I remember like, you know, you go to school, you have your friends based on the radius that you live, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like you have your friends from school or from growing up who live a couple blocks around you. Maybe you have a couple things in common, you stay at friends or whatever. But the older you get, you can really hone in to be around only the people that like actually you're like, these are the people I'm going to grow old with, right? These are the people I'm going to keep in touch with my whole life. And the older you get and the more life comes at you, you have families, you have other things, that amount of time that you have to spend with people becomes less and less, right? But so you have to be even more critical of like, okay, I know thousands of people. Do I go to dinner with all of them? No. Mm-hmm. I'm very selective on those kind of small people I met. I'm so happy you guys came into my life and are part of this kind of that family, right? Yeah. But we can all choose the families that we're around. And if you're like, I remember I had this best friend from high school, Frank. We spent every fucking day together in high school. Frank the fucking tank. But this guy, Frank was fucking mental. But Frank and I went to college. He stayed home. And Frank just hung out with a bunch of losers that we went to high school with. And then his life fucking ended up sucking. And like I tried to bring him on tour and like whatever, didn't work out. But he made that choice. That was the limit of his life. He didn't become a truck driver. But he could have stayed with me and stayed on the fucking He could have been, you know what I'm saying? He could have been like Eric in fucking Entourage, right? But it was a choice, right? So you have to make the choice of what life do you fucking want and fucking dedicate it to that, because the only no one else is to blame but your fucking self, right? And I think a lot of people now think, oh, but there's a this or that or blah, blah. Don't make fucking excuses, right? It's you, right? And unless you fucking take that responsibility, it's about the self-choice. When I climbed Kilimanjaro some years ago, my life I thought was so dictated by my managers, and I didn't have a choice in the way my life was going. I got to get to the top of this fucking mountain. I'm climbing this fucking mountain, right? I'm like, can't breathe. I'm like, and I see people walking down. Because like when you climb Kilimanjaro, there's 2 summits, right? There's like this, like you go in the middle of the night. You've been hiking for 5 days, and you go up. Fucking, you get to this one cliff, and then you see sunrise was coming over Africa, and then I kept walking. Then I'm like, oh, I can't breathe. And then you see people walking down like normal, and you got another like fucking 200, like maybe 500 meters or whatever to get to the actual summit. And people are like, it's worth it. And I got to the top, and I touched the sign, and all the shit, all the physical feeling that I had, that I couldn't breathe, that I couldn't make it, disappeared. A guy grabbed me and took a picture and then kicked me off the top of the mountain. But I realized, it was one of the biggest epiphanies in my life, I made up that it was hard, that I couldn't breathe, that I couldn't do this. And I took that time in the middle of summer to take off time to climb a mountain. And I realized that actually my whole life was my choice. And it was my perception of events that created that fucking life, right? And that is a real thing, that it's so simple, but it's so hard for us to realize that actually we're completely in control of what this reality is. And, you know, like politics, whatever, in America, right, it's a great example, because we have a situation where people living in multiple realities. And those realities are real to each of them, you know, and you can't fault each other for living in their realities because of the information that they get, right? This is, again, I was talking about, I got off of social media, and it's been totally freeing, and I kind of, part of that was I lost my friend, and I just found everything to be very trivial, but also kind of misinformation. Another thing made me kind of pissed off, whatever. It's my own fucking shit. But what I realize is what you consume for your mind creates the reality that you live. And we live in a very kind of, I think, in a paranormal world. Time is not really time. It can change. There's times that we were out, you know, where you're like, God, this 3 hours is like fucking 5 days, you know? Or this
That's
fucking
for sure.
20 hours is like 30 minutes, right? Time is expandable. Different things change, right? But you have to really kind of realize that we're living, I kind of think about a simulation theory. If you're living in somewhat of a simulation or a kind of game, you have the choice of everything that you make. You're playing Grand Theft Auto or whatever. You can roll around and do the missions. You can kill people or do whatever. It is your choice, right? So you have to also experience that with life, that all these things that we do. I mean, I could have asked you to do that thing to come on tour, and you could have been like, oh, I don't really know. Blah, blah, blah. None of this is happening. We're not here talking right now. We wouldn't have had those experiences. You have to be open to these choices and go for them, you know? Yeah. And that's fucking cool.
It's insane.
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I guess like,
how we do it.
It's like, what do you like about the jizz? You're like, where am I about to nut at? It's a fucking choice, right? Yeah. You're like, I think one of
is it
in my hand? Is it on the stomach?
Yeah. I think one of the things that, I mean, I noticed a lot with yourself and the way you interacted with all the crowds and different places we went to, talking about like choice and stuff. It's just like you would get stopped at every show by so many fans.
I mean, you too.
Yeah, but I'm saying like you're on year 20, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I didn't see you fucking. I didn't see you just like anyone. You know what I mean?
I remember when he gave the hoodie to the guy who was cold outside
yeah, bro.
the San
Like,
Francisco
thank you for
festival.
that. Here's your hoodie.
Yeah.
You bought it. Yeah.
And it comes.
That
out,
guy was freezing though. He was gonna die.
Yeah.
He was like,
Thank you so much.
I was like, Moose, I'm sorry. This guy's fucking. We got a car out of here. This motherfucker's got to walk out of the forest in the rain. And we're like, take the hoodie, huh?
And I think your generosity was even something I told like my family and stuff after, like you letting us stay at your apartment even when you weren't there in Ibiza for a few fucking days and stuff.
Great.
Just like you giving, being generous with your time after the shows to everyone. And I mean, I don't know how often you hear it, bro, but like I really think like that is it was so special to see that. Seriously.
But it's so important in life, right? To be generous.
Those little things
but also
add
just
up.
be like a genuine person.
Fucking person.
Someone who enjoys, like, no, not someone who enjoys. Someone who is just a genuine person. It's very evident. It's immediately picked up upon by everyone who surrounds them. If you're fake or you're inauthentic, it's so easy to find those people. But the people who persevere and keep pushing are the authentic people because they don't burn bridges.
But also on another level of that, right? To be fake and to be unauthentic takes more energy.
Yeah.
Oh, without a doubt, because you always have to keep up these
You're like
images
conniving and like kind of like all this shit in your mind, right? Just to be like nice and chill. Like there's this great quote, right? I used to always, I've loved my whole life. So there's this writer, Eckhart Tolle. And everyone should read this book. It was like transformative in my life. It's called A New Earth. He has 2 books, The Power of Now, A New Earth. He's got actually a bunch of books, but there are these 2. And A New Earth kind of is like this kind of transformative self-empowerment book. He's a Buddhist or like whatever that talks about all these things, right? How we interact, how we look at death, how many different ways to kind of transform the way that you think about life, right? And there's this kind of anecdote of these 2 Buddhist, right? They're like walking around doing Buddhist shit, like whatever, and they come across this beautiful woman, and there's like a puddle or like whatever, something, and she can't cross. So the one Buddhist takes off his jacket, helps the fucking woman across, blah blah blah. Then later they continue to fucking walk, and the fucking other guy, he's just like racing around in his head, and he's like, you know, fucking 2 hours later, he goes to the Buddhist, like, yo, what the fuck, bro? Why you help that bitch? Like, he's like, yo, that's not what we do. Like, what, you like kind of broke the rules of how we're supposed to be. And then the Buddhist looks back at him and he goes, it's not why did I help her, it's why are you still thinking about it, right?
I've heard that, yeah.
Take so much time in your life to really micro dissect all these different choices and everything of how, like, and so like I was talking to my friend Freddie. I have this kid, he's the son of someone I work with, right? Freddie Hauser, and he hit me up. He's 20, right? I gave him some music recently, and he's like, and I'm like, Unk. I'm Unk, right? I'm real Unk vibes, right? If you catch me at a party or whatever, I can like, I'll give you all this life advice and shit. Like, you know, I get a real fucking uncle mode. But he was like, Seth, you know, he's going through this thing. He's 20, he's in college, and he's overthinking anything. And I was just like, bro, you don't have to figure out what the fuck you're going to do with your whole life. You're 20 years old. Just let it happen. Just live your life.
Write it out.
You know, don't do coke because that shit is stupid. I mean, I've done a fair share of it. But, like, in hindsight, you know, that's the one thing maybe. Yeah. But he's like, yo, thanks. And I gave him some other advices where I was just like, yo, just experience and live it and just be a fucking cool guy. And he'll figure out. And he's like, no one gave me advice like that. You know, his parents, everything. It's like, da-da-da. And you're just like, yo, just be cool. Don't be a fucking dick. Be nice to people, to everyone. Not people just who, like, can benefit you or other things. Those people, they seem fake too, right? Because a biggest thing is, like, we noticed this on tour. Like, okay, you might be nice to me and Richie. How are you to Moose, right? You know, how are you to the other guy in the crew who's, like, kind of just chilling and who's like someone in the back.
I always love the people like that. They're like, yeah, what's your name? I'm like, hey, I appreciate that.
Yo, you're in. But then you get other people.
That's nice.
You get other people who are super nice to our face and then a dick to your friend, and then your friend tells you and you're like, I fucking knew that motherfucker was fake, right? And it's so important just to be honest and cool and open to every fucking person you meet. Because you don't know their story. You don't know anything about that person, you know? They could be fucking this or that or nothing at all, but they still might be the fucking coolest guy you ever met in your life, even though they maybe don't have a fucking cool job. But, like, they drop some fucking dimes on you, and you're like, yo, like in fucking Westworld, right? You're, like, playing the fucking game. You meet some fucking bartender who's giving you a little tip. Exactly. You got to go here, and you get the fucking next stage in the fucking game, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I was going to ask you a little change of topic here. I mean, I think, dude, nowadays, I don't know if you've noticed, but people wanting to become, or young adults wanting to become fucking DJs, dudes, is almost more popular than getting a fucking business degree.
100%.
Yeah, that shit is stupid.
After the tour, I would say people don't see the full side of entertainment. It's not just the fucking parties and the girls and the and going everywhere. It's
hard
like
work.
You know, it's you haven't slept in 3 days and you got your headphones on, you got your laptop opened up, and you're planning how are we going to put on an amazing show? And so, I mean, what word?
I don't plan.
No, I know, but I'm saying, like, maybe if maybe just to get an idea or any of that, find some new songs. But what word would you have for any new kids out there who are thinking about, want to get into the world of DJing and producing and stuff?
Again, go back to the theme of this whole podcast, right? Choose your hard. If you're gonna be a DJ and you want to be a fucking DJ, you're gonna have to dedicate your why.
Yeah.
Why? Do you actually love this, or do you love parts of this? Because if you just want to fucking go out there and play a little bit and like whatever, like again, know the end of your destination. How big do you want to get? What does it take to get there? And this is anything that you choose, right? DJing, when I got into it, was a really small thing. I've done it since I was 13 years old. I went to that one rave. I just did it. It's the passion of my fucking life. I've dedicated so much to my life. I've lost friends. I've lost everything. But I still continue because it's what I fucking do. There's this great documentary about Ed McMahon, right? From fucking Mr. McMahon, right? It's on Netflix right now. And they're like, this motherfucker is addicted to the game, right? It's fuck his family, fuck everything. And like sometimes, I remember years ago, I had this Nazi, Black Coffee is a good friend of mine, and he goes to me, he was getting divorced, whatever, and he's going through all this shit, and he's got like fucking 20 kids, I don't know, he's fucking, this motherfucker's from Africa, he fucks, right? So, straight up, I'm like, damn, how many fucking kids you got? But he goes, Seth, you know what, I used to say I did this for my family, for my kids, all this. He's like, you know what I fucking realized? I did this for fucking me, because it's what I fucking love. So if you want to be a DJ and you love this, do it because it's what you fucking love. And then maybe something comes of it, maybe not. When your passion and hobby becomes your job, it can also be when your dream becomes your nightmare. So be open to the fact that if you have this expectation of what this shit's going to be, it's not like that. It is the most cutthroat, crazy, fucking megalomaniac, insane business to be in. I call it, most of these motherfuckers in Game of Thrones, I already fucking was king, so I'm like, yo, whatever. I'm just fucking, I'm an OG, motherfuckers. But generally, it's like, if you want to do this, why do you want to do it? Why do you want to commit your entire existence? Why do you want to miss the weddings of all your best friends? Why do you want to miss fucking funerals? Why do you want to lose the love of your fucking life? Why do you want to give up everything? Can you imagine giving up everything to do this? Then yeah, get in it. If you want to do anything, if not, have a 9 to 5, have a normal fucking life. That's cool. That's also a great option. But if you want to be the fucking best, expect to give up everything to be it, right?
Absolutely.
That's it.
And so, I mean,
that's it. Miami.
Yes, sir. Art Basler. We're about to go.
That's a good closer right there, right?
What's
that's
going on?
it.
That's it. What's going on in the next week, though?
All week.
What's going on?
Yo, man, you could throw a fucking dart at the fucking balloon wall, and I'm fucking there, man. I'm doing fucking 5-6 shows here. I got to go to Mexico in between. I'm dedicated to this life. I mean, I work so fucking hard, and
I was gonna ask you. Maybe you don't have the answer to it yet. I'm assuming you don't have a plan, but. How many more years you looking to keep smashing? Do you have an idea?
I got kids, man, so I'm not quitting anytime soon. I gotta fucking pay for it.
Sir! Uncle T to the moon.
I live in fucking Switzerland. I got private school. It's like $30,000 a year for my kid to go to fucking kindergarten. I think it's not even kindergarten. It's preschool. I got 2 kids.
Learning how to make snowmans for 3.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I mean, but again, I love this shit. Right? And I just can't imagine stopping, because it is every time I get up there and I get to play for people. It's like the getting there, that shit sucks, but actually doing what I love, it's the best, right? And it's the thing that I have literally given my entire life to, and taking that away. I mean, I've seen that happen again to my friend Jack, who passed, and whatever, there's some weird allegations of some shit that didn't really happen, and they took away what he gave his whole life for, and that breaks a person, right? So if you give your whole life to something, to be able to continue it is a privilege beyond the grace of God, and thank God that I was able to do this all these fucking years. But
a few rapid fire questions before we kick
off. Bam, let's go.
So,
hot sauce, motherfucker.
Troxler travels. You're a big food enthusiast.
Yeah.
top 3 favorite foods
In Miami?
anywhere.
Oh, yeah, I'm a Szechuan guy. You know I love fucking Chinese. Pussy.
All right, that's a fair second.
Szechuan, pussy, and then barbecue.
Fair.
Best,
2 of which are meat.
your favorite club. What's your favorite club?
Favorite club. I love you, Kim. Sorry, that was just an off the cuff comment. If you watch this, I love your pussy, baby. That's why we made some babies. I was like, cow.
What's your favorite club to perform at in the world?
I mean, everywhere in the world is different, you know, and I think it's really about the people and the kind of situation you find yourself in, because it's like a kind of symbiotic relationship, right? You can be at the best place in the world, crazy festival, 20,000 people in front of you. If you don't have that give from them to you, then I'm like, I can try everything I got and it doesn't work. Ooh. Hello. No, I can be in a room with 20 people and it's incredible. I mean, there's definitely clubs. Space here in Miami, Fabric, London, you know, Panorama Bar, Blitz in Munich. There's so many different institutions that I've been a part of that have really given so much of my career. And I go in and I'm like, yeah, this is home. I play 7-8 hours and I'm just like, yo, motherfucker, we about to get it, you know? I know the crowd, I know the people. We've built something. We've built already a relationship over time that allows me to be there and be comfortable, you know? But sometimes I'll end up, like the other year I was in Paraguay, never been. I was like Ascension. I never even heard of the fucking city. It's like the capital of Paraguay. It was crazy, like the people, the whole situation. And there's so many times that you still find new things, but it's the people there and what they give to the party that allows that to happen. I'm just the conduit of you, right? Of the people there, of what they're trying to achieve, right? You as Daddy Wellness, you know, you're doing your thing, but you're a conduit, you're a vision of other people's kind of what they see in themselves, right? So if I play the music for you and the people are going and they're responding to what I'm saying, I'm going to keep saying it, right? I'm going to keep fucking pushing that fucking envelope for them, right? And be like, hey, you love this? Here's some more, motherfuckers. Yeah. But you be spitting some shit. You're like, this is a fucking hit. You get 10 fucking likes. You're like, what the fuck? I'm spitting right now. These motherfuckers ain't hearing this shit, you know? And that's like a hard situation, you know? But I think every kind of situation comes down to the people and the environment that allows you to fucking do what you want, and that community that is there with a shared value and idea system, you know? If you surround yourself with and put yourself in situations where people have the shared ideal system, then I think your goals are easier to achieve, right? And that's musically or whatever it may fucking be. But if you're like let's say you got a great idea, you're a great person, but you're in the wrong fucking pool, then you know that pool's gonna be cold forever because it's the wrong fucking pool. You know, you gotta fucking figure out what pool you need to be in to make sure it's not a cold plunge, but it's a hot tub.
Hell yeah.
I came up to that shit right at the top of my head,
yeah.
motherfucker.
And last two here, what's your number one way to beat a hangover?
Oh, damn. I mean, you got me on that fucking electrolyte shit. That shit was tight. But yeah, how do I beat a hangover?
A little Szechuan and TSL, Aperol Spritzy.
Getting back on it definitely fucking helps. Sleep if you can. Definitely being a total piece of shit when it comes to eating and like indulge in a motherfucker. Because it's about dopamine, right? So if you're hungover and you feel like shit, you got to continue that dopamine rise that you already achieved from that sick night out. You're like, I fucking crushed it last night. And then you guys had a month of crushing it, right? And then when you came off a tour, it was like a month-long hangover hitting you at once, right? So how do you continue to build that dopamine? Like you got me into working out. That helps now. You know, cold plunge. I got a hard on in the cold plunge once. You know,
that's a true experience. Sign of vitality and health.
You know? But like, you know, you got you know, but it's like you got to really figure out how to just keep the fucking dopamine running. I got ADHD. Right, so my mind doesn't produce so much serotonin, and it's like a whole fucking thing. So I'm constantly hunting for dopamine, right? My mind and body is like, how can I get high on whatever the fuck, right? It's sad to say, but that is who I am, and I think hangovers are a part of that. But the TSL method and fucking electrolytes, that shit actually works.
I have a question. I'm gonna name a drink, and you give me what vibe you think of immediately when I say the drink.
Yeah.
All right. Vodka Red Bull.
Fucking worst shit on the planet. Fucking gross. You drink vodka Red Bull, you're the most basic, fucking unintelligent, risk-taking motherfucker on the planet.
All right, are you ready? Drink number 2, gin and tonic.
Gin and tonic, yo. Gin will make you sin. You know what I'm saying? It's a classy yet loose beverage.
Aperol Spritz.
Aperol Spritz gets a night started. You know, you're fucking feeling, you know, you got a little sport coat on. You're feeling European summer vibes. And the next thing you know, you're fucking in the pub. Then you're in the fucking park. And you might get your fucking dick out by the end of the night. You know?
All right, guys. I'm about to piss my pants.
All
We're
right.
hungry as shit.
Thank
Yo,
you,
Seth,
TSL.
thank you so much for coming on, bro.
It
We
was
love you.
lovely.
And we're going to have a great fucking
We're
week.
going to have a great Miami. Come catch me somewhere. This is actually, you can't catch me because this is going to come out way later.
Next week.
Next week it'll be post, but maybe you caught me.
2025.
hope
You'll
you
see the
came out.
vlogs and shit that we're
Yeah,
gonna be doing in the
you'll
next
see
few
me
days
around.
and stuff.
I think I'm actually at, you can, if you're in Miami, I'm playing Space for New Year's Day.
Fire.
I don't know
That
if
hasn't
that's-
been released, but
I'm sorry.
That's
So
fine.
whatever. Maybe Space gets mad at me.
whoever makes it to this point and sees that,
Yeah.
maybe
They
Seth
deserve to
maybe
know.
Seth will guest list you now.
there's a very crazy back-to-back, but maybe we can make it if if you watch this fucking.
If you got to this point,
you got to this point in the podcast, message Richie and say,
or just comment on the.
If you make it, if you made it to this point in the podcast, DM me Uncle T's the goat.
or spaghetti.
and commented on the video, Uncle T's
Yeah.
the goat.
Comment on the video, Uncle
Yeah.
T's the goat, and you'll have a chance for potential little
and
guest list.
we'll get you on the New Year's Day guest list
Yeah, if you'll be in Miami.
for Space if you're in Miami. So do it.
Sheep.
I'm fucking dying.
Much love, gang. We'll see you guys in the
Love.
next one.
Peace out, boys.